Good morning. Thank you for joining. This is The Main Ingredient. I am Lawrence Williams. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CORE. We're just going to jump right into our scripture passage this morning. We're out of the book of Romans at the 10th chapter, and I'm just reading from the NLT verse at the 11th verse. As the scriptures tell us, anyone who trusts in him will never be disgraced. Jew and Gentile are the same in this respect. They have the same Lord who gives generously to all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. But how can they call on him to save them unless they believe in him? And how can they believe in him if they have never heard about him? And how can they hear about him unless someone tells them? And how will anyone go and tell them without being sent? That is why the scriptures say, how beautiful are the feet of the messengers who bring good news. I want to keep in your mind, and I want you to remember and illuminate for your understanding, Romans 10:13. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. I want you to remember that. Okay, so I even did this on the way here for this recording. You ever get in, the other day at least, and I'm sure you've had this experience, I got in my car and I had to drop off some mail at the post office. And I get in my car and I'm just driving, and then all of a sudden I get home and I look over in my passenger seat and there is a stack of mail that I meant to drop off at the post office. We do this all the time where we just, by muscle memory, get home and we don't even remember the streets that we've taken. We don't even remember where we've gone through, and we don't even remember the little things that we have to do that are different than what our normal thing to do is, and we just get there. And then all of a sudden we get to our destination and we figure out and we find out there are things that we forgot to do, pick up, drop off, stop somewhere, even if it's just to be nosy. We have forgot all about that, almost like on autopilot. Sometimes it's completely terrifying. Well, that's the thing that was happening to the church, the Roman church at this time. Paul is writing to the Roman church and who are still, operating up under the law. They're still operating as if their good deeds will bring them righteousness. And Paul is saying, listen, we have Jesus. In fact, Paul is writing this more than 50 years after the death and resurrection of Jesus. And Paul is saying, listen, we don't have to do that anymore. Your deeds are not necessarily what gets you righteousness. Salvation is free. All you have to do is accept it because Jesus has given that to us. And Paul then goes on to explain to the Roman church, this is how we get it, right? Your faith comes by hearing. How do you hear? From people who can tell you. How do they tell you? Unless they've been sent. How do they been sent? Unless it's from God. Blessed are those, the messengers who carry the message of Jesus Christ, Paul is saying to the Roman church. And that's where we are today in this whole series, Why We Plant, and we'll talk about more of that deep in discussion on Wednesday. Be sure to check out this month's episode on Why We Plant. But what's happening here is Paul is just flipping on its head. The whole notion, the whole idea that you've got to do things in order to earn the salvation of Jesus Christ. And he's saying that there are apostles, there are people in place, that there are ministers in place, ministers of the gospel, who are going all out and everywhere. It's up to us to listen, to believe, and based on that belief, based on that faith in Jesus, then we get righteousness, not based on what we do. And so I just want to encourage all of you who are out there in the ministry, whichever part of the ministry you are in. You can be a pastor, you can be a teacher, you can be a prophet, you can be an evangelist, you can be a missionary, you can be an artist, you can be a music singer, whatever your role is in the kingdom of Christ. If you are out there being the hands and feet of Jesus, getting people to understand and see differently than what their circumstance may tell them or what their environment may lead them to believe, I want to encourage you to continue to do that, because we need people like you. For verse 13, so that way everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. It doesn't matter whether you are Jew or Gentile. It doesn't matter whether you are white or black. We need people like you to continue to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, hand out Bibles at the local street store, or talk to somebody and testify. We overcome by the words of your testimony. So testify to somebody who may be going through something. All of that is so that way people can call on the name of the Lord ultimately. That is our goal. So that way we can accept the salvation that Jesus bled and died for already. We cannot earn it. If you could earn it, you would have done it. You cannot earn his salvation. You cannot earn what God has given to you, but it's already been given. The only thing that you have to do right now is accept it. And so I want to encourage you, if you are in the faith, if you are in the ministry, keep teaching, keep preaching, keep singing, keep doing whatever you are doing in order to bring people back into the fold with Jesus and to reconcile the relationship between us personally and with God. That's why we do this. That's why we plant. So that way those who may call upon the name of the Lord will ultimately be saved.
Hey, this is Pastor Michael here, and I just want to thank you for watching The Main Ingredient. Be sure to check out yourmainingredient.com for more content. You can find our devotionals, you can find our merchandise, which we use to support the things that we do here in this ministry. And as always, we do this for food, for relationships, for Jesus.